In our previous video, we explored the strange new trend on social media of trigger-focused narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths recording their victims after abusing them, and then saying, "This person is so abusive. Poor me. Why are they acting like this?" We learned that this is what abusers do when they try to elicit reactive abuse from their victims. Here's the solution that keeps these abusive liars permanently neutered. When you're around them, your senses will heighten. You will discover that provocation is a form of control. During the times when your emotions are spilling out of you the most, narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths demonstrate how powerful they feel over you. And when that happens, your emotions can feel like a chain around your neck that they can yank whenever they please. Some of us who had this happen to us took it personally, and along with that heightened awareness, we found answers. Abusers want narcissistic supply. Nothing makes them feel more important than your emotional reactivity. What's narcissistic supply? Your emotional reactivity. So when trigger-focused narcissists, sociopaths, or psychopaths yank on the chains that can be our emotions, nothing makes them feel more powerless than a non-reaction. Flying monkeys, innocent, blind supporters cultivated by trigger-focused narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, do not understand the power of a non-reaction because they are too innocent. They see others engaging in provocation and assume a big victory. While non-reactiveness is so low-key that it looks like nothing to some observers, it's what abusers dread the most, being unable to have an emotional impact on you. Here's a would-be abuser in action. Not caring makes you emotionless, and everyone else is having fun through Stoicism. You are becoming a robot. You are AI, and you are boring. Then he starts screaming, "Quit having fun!" Well, how do you defend yourself against narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths? First of all, it may sound obvious, but we walk around communicating and cooperating with everyone all day. Any injury these people mean to do to you can only happen with your permission. Do not cooperate. Number 2. One of their favorite things to do is to target your anger and then claim they had no idea why you exploded. Chronic dishonesty. Delay your reactions. Eventually, with practice, this will teach you to become a dispassionate observer of yourself. The part of you that reacts to an abuser is only the outer shell of who you are. It is your default nervous system, your social conditioning, and your ego. When you listen to that part of you talk, remember, you don't have to let it drive. Epictetus says, remember, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So here are your choices. You can choose to let them feed on an outer shell, your outer shell, which will allow them to further inflate an already overinflated ego, or you can choose to gain new psychological powers by going further down to the deeper parts of you. Marcus Aurelius says, another person will not hurt you without your cooperation. You are hurt the moment you believe yourself to be. Seneca the Younger says, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. Delaying your reactions, you will discover that your reactions are yours to possess. At that point, you can pause and go from a reaction to a response. Marcus Aurelius says, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let's talk about that for a moment. What's the difference between a reaction and a response? Well, a reaction is immediate, automatic, and full of narcissistic supply, emotional reactivity. It's a reward for would-be abusers. A response is chosen rational and demonstrates your values in the face of adversity. With a reaction, you're a violin that trigger-focused abusers can play with whenever they please. With a response, you turn around and emotionally regulate those around you, including the flying monkeys, even while those people eagerly follow along with the plans given to them by the trigger-focused narcissists, sociopaths, or psychopaths. With a reaction, you want to defend and explain yourself or make impassioned pleas to people. When it's a response, you drink in the calmness and the happiness, and your words will reflect this. Stoic non-reactiveness breaks the minds of would-be abusers. That's what their childish crocodile tears are really about. Oh, why is my abuse always getting taken care of? Years of epic failure. Me. There are many strategies that narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths use to provoke their intended victims. In this video, we'll cover one strategy. It's a red flag: palindromic speech. Introducing Dr. Sam Vaknin, a world-renowned psychologist and professor of psychology. Dr. Vaknin specializes in the way that narcissists communicate. Palindromic speech is Dr. Vaknin's concept. He says the envelope of the narcissist's message is always reasonable, always compromising, always socially acceptable, something any reasonable or rational person would write. But deep inside the envelope of the message, there is the hidden or coded message, which triggers you, pushes your buttons, and the hidden message is usually very hostile. The more appropriate, proper, formal the message is, the more hostile it is. Passive aggression masquerades as civility. Pop quiz, hotshot. What is palindromic speech? Palindromic speech is the tendency narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths have towards hiding hostile, triggering messages under a speech surface that appears polite, reasonable, and socially acceptable. Narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths claim their pathological behavior problems are actually very positive traits. Isn't that called being a Malcolm X? Under this false context, they teach their flying monkeys to use palindromic speech against their intended targets. When you deconstruct palindromic speech, you realize that it is an example of extreme manipulativeness and chronic dishonesty. Pathological behavior problems are not positive. Anyway, the Bible speaks of a different kind of speech. It says, simply let your yes be yes and your no, no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. Matthew 5:37. If you have the beautiful desire to be a true Christian warrior, let it reflect on your character. When you notice that something is extremely dishonest or manipulative or hateful, understand that it is not of God, if it is not of love, and do not bring it into the doors of the church. But here's the bad news for would-be abusers. Stoic non-reactiveness destroys palindromic speech. When you first discover this, it may be your initial reaction to rub the faces of would-be abusers in this fact. As the months and then years pass and their failure becomes permanent, you may choose to stick with responses instead, out of amusement. So, how do Stoics deal with righteous flying monkeys? Marcus Aurelius says, you always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. He also says, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. So how do Stoics deal with righteous flying monkeys? In short, with deep respect. We love the fact that there are righteous people amongst us, and we just focus on increasing our inner locus of control. Marcus Aurelius says, everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. That was harsh. Epictetus says, if you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your own integrity. If you need a witness, be your own. So to sum it all up, when the problem is provocation, the solution is Stoicism. Throughout life's ups and downs, you can turn to the Stoics, who were both Christian adjacent ancient philosophers and masters of resilience. While the Stoics never espoused a religion, they were righteous men of honor whose thoughts stood the test of time. Pearls of wisdom from thousands of years ago. Final Stoic lesson: gratitude. Marcus Aurelius says, "Do not dream of possession of what you do not have. Rather, reflect on the greatest blessings in what you do have, and on their account, remind yourself how much they would have been missed if they were not there." Stoics also say nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. I am a big nerd about Stoicism. It's one of the few philosophies that prevents others from stealing your righteousness.